morning students. In this video we are going to see regarding the working stress method. In the previous video we have covered some basics of working stress method. In that we have seen the assumptions which are being used in working stress method, and we have seen the permissible stresses in concrete and steel, and we have seen the modular ratio. Next we will continue with the derivation. Let us consider a singly reinforced beam. So now singly reinforced beam is nothing but, in this beam we are going to provide the reinforcement in the tension zone. In the compression zone, concrete is going to resist the forces, compressive forces. So that beam we can call it as a singly reinforced beam. And we are going to do derivation for a balanced design. Balanced design is nothing but where the concrete and steel both they are going to fail at a same time. So that failure you can call it as a balanced failure. So we will take one balanced design. For that we will try to derive the formula. So let us consider one beam. So this is the section showing the cross section of the beam, where B is nothing but the breadth of the section and D is nothing but the effective depth of the section. You can see this is the cross section of the beam we have. D is nothing but the effective depth. Now effective depth is nothing but distance from the top to the center of the reinforcement. So for example, once again I will draw it here. For example, if this is the cross section of the beam, and here if you provide the reinforcement, this is one reinforcement and this is one reinforcement. Then next is, so now what is this effective depth? Effective depth is nothing but distance from this top to the center of the reinforcement. To the center of the reinforcement. So this is the reinforcement we have. This is the reinforcement we have. So center of the reinforcement to the top extreme compression fiber, we are going to call this as small d. That is nothing but the effective depth. Next is this dotted line, what we have, this is nothing but the neutral axis. This is the axis where we don't have any compression or tension, it will be 0. Then next is above this neutral axis we are going to have compression zone, below this we are going to have the tension zone. Then next, as it is a singly reinforced beam, we will provide the area of steel, AST, area of steel, and it is for a balanced section. As we have taken balanced design, so this will be AST balanced. Then next is X. X is nothing but the depth of neutral axis, that is nothing but distance from the extreme top compression fiber to the neutral axis. Distance between the neutral axis and the extreme top compression fiber, we are going to denote it by letter X. As it is a balanced section, so we are going to write it as X balance or X critical, XCR. Next is this is the strain diagram we have, and this is the stress diagram. So let us see one by one. If you see the strain diagram, as we have seen the assumptions, the first assumption we have seen that plane section before and after bending it will remain plane. So due to that, what strain profile we are going to get? It will be linear. So this is the strain profile we have. So at the top we have concrete. So therefore we are going to have the maximum strain at top as well as at the bottom, extreme bottom fibers. So at the top we are going to have concrete. So therefore it is denoted by epsilon C. that is nothing but strain in the concrete. So it can also be denoted by sigma CBC divided by EC. So generally we calculate Young's modulus of elasticity, that is stress divided by strain. So if you want to calculate strain, if you want to represent strain, so we can cross multiply, that is stress divided by modulus of elasticity, that is sigma CBC divided by EC, where sigma CBC is nothing but permissible stresses in concrete due to bending compression. This is nothing but, you can see sigma is nothing but permissible stresses, C is for concrete, BC is nothing but in bending compression. Then next is we have EC, that is modulus of elasticity of concrete. Then next at the bottom we have steel, so that is epsilon ST, that is strain in the steel. So that can be denoted, that can also be written as sigma ST by ES, that is sigma is nothing but permissible stresses in steel divided by Young's modulus of steel. This is the strain diagram. Next is we will try to see the stress diagram. So this is the neutral axis we have, this is the neutral axis, this is the neutral axis. Above this we will have compression zone. So at the top you will have the maximum stresses at the top, that is it is denoted by sigma CBC. Then next is this tension, it is being represented by the force T, tension. Next is if you see this stress block, so at the top you will have maximum, it goes on decreasing and it will be 0 at the neutral axis. Then next what happens is, this can, if you want, you can continue here also. So it is going to have, means concrete can take somewhat tension also. In this tension zone also this concrete can take, but as we have seen in the assumption that concrete is not going to take any tension. So therefore this we are going to neglect. Below the neutral axis we are going to neglect this part. So only this much top portion we are going to have. Another thing is, what we can see is that this we are going to have it as a straight line. Why? Because we have seen one assumption, that is the material is going to behave in a linear way. So therefore this profile what we are going to get, it is a straight line. Next is this is the total what you can see compression zone. At the top compression zone we have. So therefore at the top you will have compressive force, which is denoted by letter C. This is C is nothing but total compressive force, that is nothing but area of this section we have. So how do we calculate? It is going to act at the centroid of this area. So centroid of a triangle is nothing but 1/3 of x. So this distance is nothing but x. We have here we have written x. So from this face till this, it is 1/3 we have. From here it will be 2/3. This will be 2/3 and this will be 1/3. So therefore 1/3 of what? X. This distance is nothing but x we have, centroid. So x divided by 3 we are going to have. This compressive force, it is going to act at a distance of x divided by 3 from the top face. Then next at the bottom it is being represented by the tensile force, which is stress will be sigma ST. This is nothing but the stress diagram. So here at the bottom they have given AST balance, that is nothing but the reinforcement for a balanced section. Sigma CBC is nothing but permissible stresses in concrete in bending compression. Sigma ST is nothing but permissible stresses in steel in tension. EC is modulus of elasticity of concrete. ES is modulus of elasticity of steel. Next is EC, epsilon C. So this value, it is nothing but strain in concrete, that is sigma CBC by EC. The next is epsilon ST, that is nothing but strain in steel, that is sigma ST by ES. So this can further, it can be written as sigma ST, same thing. Then next is that we have seen modular ratio. So M is equal to we have ES by EC. ES by EC we have. So this ES, what we can do in terms of ES, if you want to write, EC if you want to write, ES will be equal to M into EC we have. So that is what it is being written here, M into EC, where M is nothing but the modular ratio, B is nothing but the width of the beam, D is nothing but the effective depth, D is nothing, small d is nothing but effective depth. We are going to take capital D also. Capital D will be nothing but from the extreme top to the extreme bottom. Total depth what we have, that we can call it as overall depth of the beam. So this small d is nothing but effective depth, that is nothing but distance from extreme compression fiber to the centroid of tensile reinforcement. Next is x, that is nothing but depth of the neutral axis, which is defined as the distance of the neutral axis from extreme compression fiber. From extreme compression fiber to the neutral axis, this distance. Then next we have another term, that is nothing but Z. Z is nothing but the lever arm, that is nothing but distance from the centroid of the compressive force to the centroid of the tensile force. Distance between the compressive force to the tensile force, that is nothing but Z, that is nothing but the lever arm. Next we'll try to calculate, we try to find out the depth of the neutral axis. This value we'll try to calculate. So what we'll do, we'll consider this strain diagram. So we'll apply the similar triangles concept here. So this distance what we have, this is nothing but x balance. X balance divided by this distance. This top distance we have taken, then next is this bottom distance. This distance I want to take, or this distance I want to take from here till here. So what we can do, this total depth is D. Total depth is D minus x balance. If you do, you will get this remaining distance, that is D minus of x balance. D minus of x balance. X balance divided by D minus of x balance, that is equal to, next this distance divided by this distance, that is equal to this strain divided by this, that is sigma CBC by EC. Sigma CBC by EC, that divided by sigma ST by ES. Sigma ST by ES. So this we are going to get. Then next is, instead of this ES, we can write it as M into EC. M into EC. This EC will get cancelled. This will go to the top. So therefore we will have M into sigma CBC divided by sigma ST. This ES, instead of this ES, we'll have M into EC. So this will get cancelled. So we'll have M into sigma CBC by sigma ST. Then next, if you solve this, x divided by D minus x, that is equal to this. If you cross multiply and if you solve for x, you will get value as M into sigma CBC divided by M into sigma CBC plus sigma ST into D. So further, if you want to simplify, what you can do, this you can take M into sigma CBC. If you divide by that itself, that will be equal to 1 divided by, again this will be 1 plus sigma ST divided by M into sigma CBC multiplied by D. So this term, what we can do, we can take this, instead of writing this, we can write it as K multiplied by D. K multiplied by D. So where this K is nothing but a constant, we can call it as a neutral axis constant, where this value of K will be equal to, this, that is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus sigma ST divided by M into sigma CBC, where K is known as the neutral axis constant. Further, if you want to simplify, what we can do, we can substitute the value of this modular ratio. As per IS code, what it says, modular ratio will be equal to 280 divided by 3 sigma CBC. So that has to be substituted here in this equation. Therefore, it will be equal to 1 divided by 1 plus of, this is sigma ST we have, sigma ST, sigma CBC. Then next is, instead of M, we can write it as this. That will be equal to 280 we have. So this will go to the top. this will come to the top, that is 3 into sigma CBC. So this and this will get cancelled. So therefore if you simplify, you will get 1 divided by 1 plus 0.0107 sigma ST. So if you see this equation, what we can say? We can say that the depth of this neutral axis, this value of K, it is depending on sigma ST, permissible stresses in steel. It is independent of concrete, only it is dependent on the permissible stresses in the steel. So here we have this depth of the neutral axis, it depends on K into D. So K is nothing but this value, it is depending on the permissible stresses in the steel. Next we will try to calculate the lever arm. So this Z distance we will try to calculate. So if you take this stress diagram, so how do we calculate this Z value? So total is nothing but this distance is, total distance is capital D, small d we have. Then next is minus x by 3. This distance if you subtract, if this distance if you are going to subtract, so remaining will be this distance, that is Z. So this distance if you subtract in D, that is D minus of x balance divided by 3. X is nothing but x balance divided by 3. So D minus of x balance by 3. So x balance already we have calculated, that is nothing but K into D. So if you take this D common here, you can write it as 1 minus of K by 3. 1 minus of K by 3 multiplied by D. So this 1 minus K by 3, instead of writing this, you can write it as one constant, that is J. So therefore Z will be equal to J into D. So J is nothing but 1 minus of K by 3. So this J is known as lever arm constant. J is nothing but lever arm constant. Then next we will try to calculate the total forces. What will be this total compressive force C and total tensile force T? So how do we calculate now? So stress is equal to load by area we have. So therefore if you want to calculate the load, so what we can do, stress multiplied by area we can do. So therefore C is nothing but total compression, T is nothing but total tension. So if you want to calculate this C, if you want to calculate this C total compression, what we can do, we are going to calculate this area of this section. How to calculate? Half base will be B, height will be this distance, that is nothing but x balance multiplied by, what you can say, sigma CBC. It will be sigma CBC, that is half base is sigma CBC, height is x, as this is it will be like wedge section, so perpendicular to this we will have the width B. So therefore if you multiply, you will get this as B x balance into sigma CBC divided by 2. So this will be nothing but the total compressive force. Then next is in the steel, total tensile force, that is nothing but stress multiplied by area. Stress is almost sigma ST multiplied by area of this is nothing but steel is nothing but AST balance, area of steel. So stress multiplied by area will get the total tensile forces. Then next is we will try to find out the moment of resistance of a section. So what do you mean by this moment of resistance of a section? It is nothing but capacity of a section to resist the moment. Capacity of this section, how much moment this section can resist. So that we call it as a moment of resistance of section. So what will be the capacity of this section? How to calculate? We are going to calculate this total compress. We will try to calculate the moment. That is C multiplied by this Z, that is lever arm, moment about this point. Or in other words, we can calculate this T multiplied by this Z, that is lever arm, T multiplied by Z. So whichever is smaller out of this, that will be the moment resisting capacity of the section. As we have considered a balanced section, so both the for the, what you can say, total compressive force and due to tensile force, both we are going to have the same value. but if it is not a balanced section, so whichever is smaller, so that has to be taken as the moment resisting capacity of the section. So now how to calculate that moment resisting capacity? Very simple. If you consider total compressive force multiplied by lever arm or total tensile force multiplied by lever R. So how to calculate now? If you consider this compressive force C, that is moment of resistance MR is equal to total compression multiplied by lever R, that is this Z. Already we have calculated this C value, that is C is nothing but previously we had calculated half sigma CBC into B into X. Then next is Z value also we have calculated, that is nothing but J into D. If you further simplify, half sigma CBC into B into this X also we have calculated, that is nothing but K into D multiplied by this J into D. So therefore this will be half sigma CBC, this is what you can say KD we have, K we have, this J we have, the next this is B, the next is this D and D. So therefore it will be D square. Then next what we can do, we can take this term, that is half sigma CBC into K into J. So we can write it as another constant, that is Q balance. So that will be equal to this term, that is half sigma CBC into K into J, that is Q balance. That is nothing but moment of resistance factor for a balanced rectangular section. This is nothing but moment of resistance factor. This is nothing but moment of resistance factor. Then next, if you consider this tensile forces and if you want to calculate, so therefore moment of resistance will be equal to this tensile force into this lever arm, that is total tension into lever arm. So already we have calculated this total tension, that is AST balance into sigma ST. Lever arm is nothing but J into D. So therefore this will be equal to AST balance sigma ST we have J into D. So either with the help of this compressive forces you can calculate, or with the help of tensile forces you can calculate the moment of resistance of the section. Both the values will be same. Why? Because we have considered a balanced rectangular section. If it is not a balanced section, then whichever is going to have least value, either this or this, so that has to be considered, and that will be the value of moment of resistance of the section. Next we will try to calculate the steel area. So how to calculate the steel area now? For a balanced section, M balance already we have seen, that is AST balance into sigma ST into J into D. Previously just now we have seen. If you want to calculate this area now, this area if you want to calculate this, you cross multiply. Therefore this AST balance will be equal to M balance. This will be cross multiplied, that is sigma ST into J into D. The next is we have another term, that is PT. PT is nothing but percentage of steel. Percentage of steel in this rectangular section. So how do we calculate percentage? That is area of this steel provided divided by total area of this section multiplied by 100. AST divided by BD multiplied by 100. General percentage we are calculating, that is percentage of steel how much we have provided in this section. So that is nothing but PT, that is percentage of steel. So if you want to calculate for a balanced section, PT will be equal to this 100 we have. So instead of this what you can say AST by BD we have, so we'll try to substitute value of this AST balance. Somewhere here we have this AST balance value, that is 100 we have. AST balance value here it is being given, that is M balance into divided by sigma ST into J into D multiplied by this value, that is 1 divided by B, what you can say, this value is over. The next is this value we have B into D. So therefore this will be equal to 100. This M balance already we have calculated in the previous slide, that is half sigma CBC into K into J into B D square divided by the sigma ST into J into D multiplied by B into D. So if you see this D and this D get cancelled, B and B will get cancelled, J and J will get cancelled. This 2, this is 50 we have. So therefore if you solve, that is 50 sigma CBC we have. Next is K divided by this remaining portion, that is sigma ST. It is 50, next is K into sigma CBC divided by sigma ST. With this formula you can calculate the percentage of steel for a balanced section. Then next is, if you are going to design a balanced section, if you want to design a balanced section, what we can do, if you know the design moments, so that is nothing but M balance, and if you are going to assume the width of the beam, usually what we do, width of the wall we are going to assume it as a, that much width we consider as a width of the beam. If width is known and if the moment is known, we can calculate the value of D. Same formula previously what we had seen, M balance is equal to Q into B D square we had. So only we have cross multiplied, that is D will be equal to M balance divided by Q balance into B square root of this. So this will be the formula so as to calculate the depth of the beam. And if you want to calculate the area, that is AST balance, already we have seen this also, that is M divided by sigma ST into J into D. So what we can do, if you want to design a balanced section, so for that you should know the moment. So by doing the analysis, we will try to calculate the moment values, and if you are going to assume the width of the beam, based on that we can calculate the depth of the beam. From the depth we can calculate the area of steel in the, how much area of the steel that has to be provided in the section.